There are over 200 official Tetris variants. Among those games are some strange standouts. There's Tetris with hats, Tetris Battle Royale, and 3D Tetris. Today we'll be exploring some of the oddest Tetris variants there are. We will start from the interesting to the downright strange. Welcome to the weird world of Tetris sequels. The first game I'll discuss today is Tetrisphere. Released in 2018, Tetrisphere has a very similar gameplay to the original, except it is far more relaxed and less hectic. It features stunning backdrops and music that synchronizes to your game. It's basically Tetris on psychedelics. Tetrisphere also has a new mechanic called the Zone. In the Zone, you're basically able to stop time and clear more than 4 lines, which is normally impossible. What's even crazier is that this game is on VR, which must be an insane experience. Tetris 99 is an online battle royale game released in 2019. It puts you against 98 other players and you fight to survive the longest. The better you do, the more garbage blocks are sent to your opponents. You can even target certain players. There are 4 types of targeting. First, random. Secondly, KO, which targets the person closest to losing, and once you've taken them out, you get to send more garbage blocks to other opponents. Third, attacker, which targets those who are targeting you. Lastly, badges, which targets the players who have the most KOs. Unlike the previous game, Tetrisphere, which was meant as a calm, relaxing experience, Tetris 99 is insanely hectic. Tetris 2 was released all the way back in 1993, and has a few major differences. First of all, new blocks, which break apart when they land. Second of all, it's basically Dr. Mario. In Dr. Mario, your objective is to drop pills to create 4 in a row of matching colors. Tetris 2 is similar, except you only need to match 3 squares instead of 4. Tetris 2, despite its name, isn't actually the second Tetris sequel. It's the 7th. When you hear the name Tetris Attack, what do you picture? Maybe a frantic competitive game like Tetris 99, or something else with bombs as Tetris pieces. Maybe you imagine something completely different. But whatever you imagined, you probably didn't expect it to be a Yoshi game. That's right, just like the previous game, Tetris 2, Tetris Attack is a Mario puzzle game under the Tetris name. The gameplay features 6 different colored squares. You're able to swap 2 adjacent squares to create 3 in a row, either horizontally or vertically. All while this is happening, the blocks get closer and closer to the ceiling. Tetris Attack is also unique simply for the fact that it's just a Yoshi puzzle game under the Tetris name, with a few similarities. The next game is Hatris. In Hatris, instead of tetrominoes falling, it's hats. You're placed in some sort of factory and have heads at the bottom on which you need to place the hats. You get 2 hats to place, and you are able to swap them back and forth while they are falling. Once you make a stack of 5 of the same hat, it gets cleared. A cool thing about this game is that it was developed by Alexei Pajitnov, the creator of Tetris. Alexei Pajitnov appears to be the one pulling the lever in the factory as well. Having hats instead of tetrominoes gives Hatris an interesting spin. The next game also swaps out tetrominoes for something else strange. You thought hats were weird? What about faces? Faces, Tris 3, instead of hats, has faces that you have to make. There are 5 sections of faces that you have to put on top of each other. Once a full face is made, it is cleared. There are 2 faces at the same time falling from the top, which you have to somehow match for both, unless your progress in a column is ruined. Because once you put a piece there that doesn't belong, it creates a garbage block that is impossible to eliminate. You are also unable to swap the 2 falling pieces, but only able to see what's on the other side. Faces Tris 3 is a very flawed game, which is strange considering it was also made by Alexei Pajitnov. So far we have looked at some very different Tetris games, but all of those have been 2-dimensional. Now it's time to look at Welltris, a 3D Tetris sequel. Welltris features a board called the Well, which is made up of 4 walls and a floor. The pieces fall and are able to be rotated just like normal, but on 4 walls instead. The objective is to create vertical or horizontal lines on the bottom, which are cleared when created. Once a piece is dropped, it will keep going as far as it can to the other wall. If the piece you're dropping cannot entirely fit onto the bottom of the well and is on the wall, that wall which the piece is on will become red. You won't be able to use that wall for a few turns, but if all the walls turn red, then you lose. Welltris was also created by Alexei Pajitnov and was the first official Tetris sequel. Tetrisphere was first released in 1997 for the Nintendo 64. Instead of a flat plane with falling pieces, it has a sphere made up of tetrominoes and blocks, with a robot trapped inside. Instead of clearing lines, you have to remove pieces by causing 3 of the same type of piece to touch. This results in a combo, which causes them to explode. Pieces are also able to be shifted around to create combos. The player has 3 lives, and lives are lost when mistakes are made. You can even go against another player or the computer. Similar to Tetris Attack, Tetrisphere is very different than most other Tetris games. Throughout the course of this video, we have looked at relaxing psychedelic Tetris, battle royale Tetris, Tetris games that aren't really Tetris games, Tetris with hats, Tetris with faces, 3-dimensional Tetris, but this last one is crazy. It is Tetris 64. I know, crazy, right? But trust me, this game is weird. First, let's look at the game modes. There is Tetris mode, which is just your standard game of Tetris. There's also Giga Tetris, which features larger blocks, and when they clear a line, they shatter. However, the weird part about this game comes from the mode Bio Tetris. This game is the only game that uses the Nintendo 64 biosensor, which is a heart rate monitor that connects to your ear. How the game mode Bio Tetris works is when your heart rate rises, the game gets harder by sending more complex pieces. It can also be played where the game gets easier if your heart rate goes up. Tetris 64 is incredibly strange and different considering it was only released in Japan and is the only game to use a literal N64 heart monitor. I hope you enjoyed this journey through the weird world of Tetris sequels. If you're interested in learning about the history of Tetris, click right here. And as always, thank you so much for watching.